Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Suni and I'm the maker behind ippeun here on YouTube, also available on Instagram and Ramble-y with the same username. As usual, everything will be linked down below, so like the other socials that I'm on, as well as all the patterns that I mentioned. The designer's Instagram, the page you can buy them, and then my Ravelry page where I list all the information about my make for it. It's been a little bit since I last did one of these podcast episodes. It was definitely the previous year. I don't know when. But not a whole lot of finished makes, but a lot of works in progress to show. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it and hope that this isn't too long. So what I'm wearing is something that I made a very long time ago. I want to say it was last summer, or maybe last spring. Somewhere around there maybe. Back when I first started to really crochet and like make a lot more things with it, especially garments. I don't know how I made it. I assumed there was some sort of YouTube tutorial, but it was too long ago and I don't think I saved it, so I don't know. But I think it's a very basic pattern with the ribbing being done like, what is it, single crochet through the back loop and just keep alternating that, and then single crochet or double crochet for all the colors. And it was kind of just like two rectangles with a little bit extra for the neck, and then like tubes for the sleeves. And I'm not entirely sure. I want to say big twist yarn for all three colors, and I tried looking at Joann's to figure out the colorways. If I had to guess, I would say that they would be medium rose for the pink, varsity yellow for the yellow, and then cerulean blue for the blue. I honestly have no clue. It is 100% acrylic yarn no matter what though, because that's what all I was buying at the time. But I think it's really cute, and it has pilled a little bit as, let me try to show. You can definitely see some fuzzy bits off the top there. But considering how I've wanted these mount, put in the washer and dryer and everything, it's held up pretty well. And it's actually quite soft, which I really do like. Obviously, as it is an acrylic yarn, it isn't the best for temperature regulation, but it's comfortable, and because I know I can machine wash it, I don't mind getting stains on it, so it's nice, and I still get a lot of use out of it, despite it being one of my very early crochet makes. And now on to recently finished. The first thing is my finished mountain walk socks. They're kind of, maybe a little messy. I'll fold it. So I think the last time I did a podcast, I mentioned that I was either working on or just finished the first sock, but I have since finished the second. These were tests for Handmade by Florence, or Florence Miller. She has a knitting podcast and knitting Instagram, which very pretty. Sorry, there might be little stuff on it because I've already worn it once, but this was very cute. A surprisingly simple pattern. Doing like the repeats of the lace, or the mock lace cable, not mock lace, the mock cable section was very, like, it was just kind of fun, and it was a new technique to me, which made it just very interesting to try out. And the pattern is now out if you want to buy it. I do think if you have like a, I guess, somewhat plain yarn and you want to make some socks that have a little bit of a fancy pattern, I would recommend this. Next up is technically finished on my part, but it looks a little incomplete, and this is something that I made for my sister. It's a book sleeve, except it's not, I guess it doesn't follow what you would typically imagine for a book sleeve, because it's more like a, I don't know, bucket shape, like a box with the top part open, so you can put the books in through there. And this is just the book that she's currently reading because I stole it from her to show this. And the reason why it's like somewhat incomplete is because there's this strap, which is going to be attached to the back. And then there are these little holes in the strap, which are basically just little buttonholes. And she's going to attach a button on the front, so that way, no matter what size of the book she puts in, it'll be able to close over top. And this was a pattern that I think there was a tutorial for, crochet with, I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, I'm sorry, but it's a YouTube tutorial which just takes you step by step with how to make it. It starts off as a heart granny square, and then you kind of just extend it to fit the size of the book that you want, or just the size that you want in general. So because of that, it's a made to measure pattern. I used some stash yarn. So the golden kind of mustardy color is, I think, Red Heart Super Saver. I'm not sure the colorway. And then the sort of lemony color is actually a yarn that I got from a friend who was moving, and I don't know how she had yarn. I think some of it was given to her, some of it she bought, but it didn't have a label. And I held that double to match the weight of the Superstar, to match the weight of the Red Hearts Super Saver yarn. And then final work in progress is a small little project that I made and finally was able to add the finishing touches recently. I posted these on Instagram. These are technically they're called the bridge arm warmers, and because the pattern actually extends a lot farther past that, but because I mainly wanted to use this with a remaining amount of yarn that I had in stash, I didn't have enough for the full actual length, so I just kind of estimated and did my best and made them just for my hands. So I use this with the yarn that I had left over from my Ramage pullover test knit that I made last fall-ish. So trendsetter yarn, soffio cashmere, and I think I would have had enough to do all of it in one color, but I really wanted to do kind of like an accent situation with the cast on and bind off being a different color from the main that was used for the rest of it, because I had seen it, I think, a decent amount for some other designs, but I just thought it was really cool and I wanted to try it out, so I did that. And then when I finished it, I thought it was a little plain looking, especially with the contrast color, so I wanted a little bit more of that, so I added the bow, and I think it's really cute. They are definitely very warm, and even though they are warm though, I will say, because it only covers like my palm and doesn't go past there for my fingers can get kind of cold, but then you can just kind of like tuck them in, so it's not that big of a deal. But it does make me want to make a pair of like gloves. I don't know how difficult that would be, because I feel like doing each finger would be such a pain, having to work in such a small circumference, but I feel like it'd be nice. But I don't really have any for that the rest of this winter, so maybe next year or the end of this year. And now on to works in progress. I will first show you something that I worked on a lot and then is now going to be on hold while I work on gift knits and other things. So this, oh my gosh, you can't even see it. This is my advent shawl. So I started actually doing the decreases. Right here, you can see. It comes to a point, and I just, as soon as I got to the day 7's yarn, I immediately started the decreases. And in case you didn't watch the last episode where I talked about this, I'll just kind of run over it again. So this is kind of like a, I guess, self-drafted pattern. I feel like it's such a simple construction that it feels kind of wrong to say that. But basically it's just a garter stitch shawl. I keep dropping this working sleeve. It's garter stitch with a built-in I-cord on either edge, 3 stitches for both sides, and for the increasing part, it increases every other row, so it's only increasing on this side, and then when it decreases every other row to make that kind of like triangular shape. And I decreased, so there's going to be 6 skeins for increasing, 6 skeins for decreasing. So when I got to day 7, that's when I started the decreases, and I've just been joining each one with a split splice because it's a non-superwash wool, and I found that that works fine. Some of the gradation is a lot more subtle than other parts. I think like this section is a lot more, like this part is a lot more subtle than obviously switching to blue or in the little purple section here. But I didn't really feel like doing one of those kind of more gradual gradations between the colors, mainly because my priority is making this as simple and brainless as possible, and also because I didn't know, I want to use every last bit of each skein, and if I want to do a gradation, I feel like I would risk running out or having too much left over. And I know that's not that big deal and I could just work around it, but I didn't feel like it, so I've just been doing this. And I don't mind some of the even the more harsh color changes. Not a big deal to me. It's still really pretty and all the colors are gorgeous. The only problem I have now is I don't know what to do with the remaining 12 skeins, or 12 mini skeins, but we'll figure it out. And this is on the back burner anyways, while I have one project for myself, but also mainly some gift knits that I am working on. And the main gift that I was working for myself is, it's going to be kind of scrunched up because it is very wide. I am in the middle of a row. I'm so sorry. This actually never happened yet, so I apologize. I'm usually pretty good about finishing the row before I show it. But fairly recently, I think the end of December, Camellia Fiber Company had an Instagram pop-up. So basically a bunch of things that they had in stock were like on sale for discounted prices, whether it's because there was like maybe over dyeing or it was a custom order that didn't end up getting used, or like it was like a test for different dyes or on different bases, stuff like that. So they had a bunch of different bundles and I really wanted to try getting some yarn from Camellia Fiber Company just because I think some of the colorways were very sort of like interesting, almost muted versions of a lot of colors I really liked, and I thought that would be I guess kind of fun to try because it wasn't within my normal color range, and also because it is owned by a Korean owner, which, you know, I wanted to support and appreciate. So I got 6 skeins in their Sylvan DK base, which is 70% alpaca, 20% silk, 10% cashmere, so a very soft, kind of luxurious yarn, and it is in the colorway Chicory. Let me show you this. Ta-da! So very pretty. It is just a lovely color and it's just so soft. As soon as I opened it, like I had to have my sister touch it too because it was just so soft. I needed her to know. But anyways, what I'm making with it is called the durumagi. It's like a hanbok coat, hanbok jacket, cardigan. Super pretty design, and it's got these little like details of with the like eyelet almost, and then also alternating some like ribbing pieces, which is just super pretty. The ribbon kind of scrunched up together, so I don't know if you can see it that well, but so pretty. And then because it is a hanbok style and so like it crosses over, can you see, like if you've worn a hanbok, if you've seen them before, you know, but so you have the 2 front sides and they're wider because both of them go across more than just enough to meet in the middle, like they overlap. And for this, it goes so that you overlap the entire way. So it's like, what is it, 150% wide, the width of a normal top or garment. And it's just, it's so cute, it's so pretty, and I'm really happy using like Korean yarn for, oh, I say Korean yarn by a Korean owner on a Korean design by a Korean designer. It's just like very happy. So I made a decent amount of progress. I think one thing I would change if I could do this over again is I think I cast it on with a long tail cast on. It's worked top down. I think I would have actually cast it on with, the term is escaping me, but the one where you like have live stitches on, and like when you do toe up socks. Is it when you do toe up socks? I think it's when you do toe up, but anyways, like, so that way you can pick up the stitches later and work from there. Like for double knitted I don't know. I'm blanking all the terms, but that way I could have more easily picked up stitches and then worked both the front and back from that cast on edge. But I think when I picked up stitches, I think I did it fairly neatly. You can see where it is, but it's not like messy. And especially from afar, I think it doesn't look bad, I think. But yes, this is very fun to work on. And so soft, so lovely, but it will be on hold while I work on gifts for other people, but as soon as I'm done with that, I'm going to come back to this. And especially because it has such a wide width and it's like cardigan style or jacket style, so you have to work flat. It's not each row takes a very long time, so this will take a lot of time to work on. Oh, I completely forgot to mention, so the designer of this pattern is Sedna Young, and I am making a size M. There's 6 sizes, extra small to 2XL, and yeah, it should have a pretty oversized fit. I think the pattern recommends to have like maybe 20 centimeters of positive ease, and I think the size medium gives me maybe somewhere between 20 and 30 centimeters positive ease, which, because I have a decent amount of yarn of this, I think it worked out fine. Next up is so small and so sad. I don't know if it deserves to be in this section, but I'm going to include it anyways because it is something I started working on a little bit. It is the very humble beginnings of what I want to become a messenger bag. Not much to say about this. I'm using Lily Sugar and Cream cotton yarn. It's the leftover of the cone that I had after working on the Santa Baby shrug. I'm not sure how much yarn this will take. I kind of wanted to say that I might need to buy another cone, just because this stitch is, I feel like it uses a decent amount, but then it doesn't grow much, or it doesn't add much, like dimension wise. But it is very sturdy, and you can't really see through, which I'm taking to mean as extra sturdy, and that things won't fall out of my bag then. Yeah, so this is going to be either the front or the back panel, depending on how much I have left when I get to the height I want it to be. So I'm going to make this in panels. I'm not following a pattern, I'm just kind of going with the vibe. But I will say that the stitch that I'm using, I first learned about it, I don't know what it's called, I first learned about it in a YouTube tutorial. I'll link the video in the description, but it's basically done by, after you do the setup rows, you work through the back loop and then the loop of the stitch in the previous row. So like you go down and then you single crochet, and then the front loop of the stitches that you just kind of like just didn't use, then that becomes the bottom loop of the next row. It's a little confusing, but it's a lot more simple than it sounds, I think. I'm making this kind of because I wanted a messenger bag. I think they're cute and I keep wanting to get one, but they're kind of expensive, and I also don't really find any that really are what exactly I want, so I figured I'll try making one and we'll see how it goes. And then another work in progress that is very much a spur of the moment sort of decision, and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I hope it'll turn out okay. This is going to be for this is supposed to be like one of those plant holder things, because the friend who I mentioned earlier is moved. She had a bunch of plants and I asked if I could have one of them, and I'm trying my best to take care of it, but I wanted to keep it in my room if I could, and I don't have much like surface area space that I could put it. See, all this is filled. I have another bookshelf that everything is filled, but I do have a hook in the ceiling, in that corner right there. So I was thinking about like making one of those things that go around the base of it, and then like it's like a string thing and you attach it and hang it from the ceiling. I thought that could be cute, and then by a bunch of random other thoughts and stuff that I've had, I was like, oh, what if I made it clear? I don't know why. I have plenty of scrap yarn I could have used for it, but anyways, it was only like $3.17, and I bought some, is it fishing line? Fishing wire? I don't know. Sure Strike. Soft, extra strong, premium quality. I don't know. It's 185 yards, and I will say, okay, because you can see when it comes off of this, it curls and it does not want to uncurl. So because of that, it is a bit of a pain to work with, but because it's clear, it looks so cool when it's like in the stitch. At least I thought so. I don't know. It curls, so it does not show up well what it's supposed to be. I'm hoping it will flatten out. It better flatten out. Yeah, but here it is. Can you see? Actually, it doesn't show too poorly. Show better. I don't know how. I don't know what the best background is. Basically, I just did magic loop, 6 single crochets into that, and I kept increasing as you normally would for a circle. So like increase every stitch, increase every other, increase every third, so on and so forth, and kind of mixing up a little so it wouldn't end up like very hexagonal, and more of like an actual circle. And it has reached the width I want it to be at, I think, based off of what I think this flattens out into and the base of the pot that the plant's in. And then I just single crocheted into the, what is it, the front loop of the stitch to kind of make it go up a little bit more easily. And then I did double crochets, and from now on I'm going to be doing a different stitch pattern that I think would look pretty, but we'll see. So this is what, like 66 stitches I think at this point. I'm using a pretty big hook. What is it? 8mm to use this. I tried starting with a 4mm and it was just kind of like too much of a pain. So 8mm, and it looks really cool. Like when you see the center, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I'm gonna keep working on this very slowly because it is a pain, especially because how the wire keeps wanting to curl and it is very uncooperative. But, and also the stitches, like, where the heck is the freaking loop? You know, it's so, ugh. But it's gonna be worth it. It better be worth it. I'm excited to see how it turns out. And if it does work out, then I would like to make a book cover, a book sleeve. I'm not sure if same design as the heart one, but some sort of design I think would be cute. Some sort of design I think would be cute to add onto a planner I got recently, or that I ordered a while ago and came in the mail recently. I think would be cute, because I didn't want to like cover the design of it, but I thought it would be nice to have something like a book sleeve for it. And that's all for random things the idea got in my head and I just had to make. Last thing is one of the gifts that I'm working on, and this is for my dad, who I am like 90% sure doesn't watch these, so I'm in the clear. But on the random off chance he somehow watched this, you know, like, don't look, obviously. This is a very in progress spider gwen amigurumi. Yeah, put that out of the way. So I have the body and then one arm, which I have not yet attached, and I think the body is done. I'm not entirely sure. So I'm making this because last Christmas, or his last birthday, I made him a Spider-Man amigurumi with a pattern by Janita Delamore on YouTube. And so this is following the same pattern as that. I'm just, you know, doing color differently, but the dimensions and like how to do the feet and the leg stuff is all the same. Anyways, I gave him that Spider-Man. He thought it was cute, which, you know, score. And when I had the rest of my family fill out like that Google form thing I mentioned a while ago so I can give them like gifts that they actually want of all their gift preferences, he didn't want to fill it out because it was too much work, and who knows whatever reasons were going on in his head. But he just said, just make me something to go along with the Spider-Man. I was like, okay. And he said, I think silk or spider gwen, and I didn't want to have to figure out how to make hair for a crochet doll. So I went spider gwen, and I'll figure out the hood, but that's, I think, a lesser evil than hair. So that's what I'm making. I'm using, what is it, Lion brand basic stitch, I think it's the anti-pilling yarn, in black, white, and then this is actually leftovers I had for the crochet like hand towel, or knit hand towel and crochet coasters that I made as gifts for Christmas for some other people. I think it's Lion brand 24/7 cotton, and it's in the jade colorway. And oh, also for the arm, there's this like little detail. It's going to be on the hood too. It is this yarn, which has a sparkle to it, which cracks me up. But I figure it's fine. It'll work for like the spiderweb design. That is Karen's Simply Soft Party in the colorway Fuchsia Sparkle. This is first priority, and then there is going to be, I guess I'll just go into upcoming projects now. I'm going to make him something else too. I was thinking, there's a pattern, it's called the wordle hat, and it is exactly just what it sounds like. It has like color work for the different squares as though you're doing the filling out wordle. The pattern is by Sarah Sinclair. What I'm going to do, because he's not really much of a hat person, I mean, he's not much of an accessory person at all, but I figured scarves are my best bet, so I'm going to just take the color work and make it into a scarf. Just kind of do like a long tube. So that way it will be very similar to the pattern and I won't have to do much thinking or mathing to figure it out. Hoping that he'll like it, at the very least that he'll find it cute. Yeah. And then last upcoming gift is technically an old one. I would say spoilers, but my sister already knows it's happening. I was supposed to finish the step-by-step sweater for my sister. We claimed yarn from a thrifted sweater, finished the sleeve, and it was like, okay, if this is a good length, I'm screwed because I don't have enough yarn to finish the second sleeve. And I had to try it on just to check. And that was too short, so I definitely didn't have enough yarn. So I'm just going to frog that, use the yarn for something else, and I'm going to cast on the step-by-step sweater, again with a different yarn. In case you don't know, or you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, because I think I mentioned the step-by-step sweater in like almost every other episode I've made. It is a design by Florence Miller, handmade by Florence, same person that I made the mountain walk socks for. And so this is a completely free pattern. You can watch also a YouTube video that she has kind of taking you through step by step on how to make it, which is I think 100 minutes long. And there's a written pattern for you again, and with optional short row shaping for the lifting the neck or lifting the back, and also double folded collar for the neck, which is what I like to do. So I'm just going to be casting that on again in Lion Brand Respun yarn, which is 100% recycled polyester, which I thought is a very cool idea. This is the colorway Alpine. It's kind of like a bottle green, like a slightly more blue toned bottle green. I just think it's really pretty, and it's quite soft, and I will hope to cast on after I finish my dad's presents. It's a little bit unfortunate because my sister's birthday is before my dad's, but like I asked my younger sister for advice on what to do and if I should just like try to make her sweater really quickly, but she said like it's true, it's better to have one late birthday gift than all late birthday gifts, and I was like fine. So she will unfortunately have to wait. She got the rest of her presents at least, so it's not like I gave her nothing. I think I would have felt really bad about that. But so I'll be finishing up the presents for my dad, and then after that working on this, and then my durumagi. I'm not sure what else. I think also fairly high up on my priority is the reworking the sporty knit skirt that I was making. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Which I casted on a while ago, and then it's been on hold for a very long time. I think I'm going to frog it and try to figure out the math properly to do the increases, because I think I still do want more increases than the pattern initially, or the pattern says, but I don't think I want as many as I initially planned. So I'm going to try to figure out the math with that, like do it properly, and then based off how that turns out, I will have a more exact way and like guidance for how to make the version in the drops puna, so that I can wear that in the springtime. And then last thing to mention is acquisitions. So Explore Knits and Fibers had recently a winter solstice pre-order, so a bunch of different colorways, all gorgeous. I bought some yarn from them. I definitely went over my budget for this month. I technically have it like in my head. I have the budget, especially when categorized. So like my hobby budget, I kind of view it as like during the entire year I can spend this amount of money, but then if I break it down month by month, and I know usually I won't like spend the exact same amount each month, so there is some like room to spill over, but either way I definitely went over this month. They're gorgeous colorways, so I bought 2 sweater quantities. I bought Exordium in the Rockies DK base. It's a very pretty muted green. I'm not really sure how to describe it, and also I'm a little iffy about describing things that I don't have in person because it might end up a little different than what I see in the pictures and you know how my screen shows it. So I will wait until I have it to give a better description, and also because the words are escaping me right now. But Exordium, all the different colorways have a name which has a very kind of like interesting, cool meaning. So exordium is described as the beginning of anything, which I thought was just really cool. And I feel like a good thing to keep in mind in the start of the new year. And I think me trying to, you know, change things with my life, I think it's like a nice thing to hold on to. And then the second thing I got is apricity in the Surrey alpaca lace. And apricity is, I believe, is defined as the warmth of the sun in winter, which I thought was just so lovely and so like such good vibes. I do normally like cold weather, but there's something about like having a little bit of warmth, especially like natural warmth from the sun during a typically very cold season, that I thought was just very nice. And it is a beautiful, I think this one's considered variegated. I'm not very good with the terms, but there's like a bunch of different colors in this base, and I really wanted to try like a mohair or Surrey base that isn't just like a solid color. So I thought this is a good opportunity, and it's just so pretty. Vibes are good. And I also want to try a Surrey alpaca base. Alpaca? I want to try a Surrey base because while I do like mohair and I do like the fluff it gives, I do like the halo, the way that it, you know, blends the colors together and even things out. I do like how it, you know, prevents pilling. I'm not a fan of the shedding. I'm not sure if Surrey is any better or worse. I think I've heard some people say it's better at not shedding. So I'm going to give it a try, see how it goes. And yeah, very excited. So that was a lot. I think also a little bit longer than these things have typically been the past few episodes, but I hope it was okay. I hope it wasn't too much. I know I did ramble a little bit and also probably still talked a little fast. I'll try to be better about that, but I hope you enjoyed listening or watching. If you were working on something while you were, you know, listening or watching me, I hope you made good progress on that. And I hope this was just like entertaining, cool to catch up and chat. I've been in an interesting little headspace lately. I wasn't super active on Instagram for a little while, but I'm trying to get back into the groove of things. I'm trying to get back to posting regularly. I hope you all are doing well in the new year, you know, staying warm, staying healthy, and just doing okay with life and everything. So I will see you in a little bit when I upload, hopefully with a lot of progress made and all my gifts done. But yes, take care of yourselves and happy crafting. Bye bye.